Are you ready?
You're listening to Behind the Music here on WVBL Radio. Hello, WVBL Radio listeners. This is DJ Jammin, Jade, and you are listening to Behind the Music. I am again excited to share with you last month's Open Mic Night winner here on WVBL Radio, Justin Till from Texas. By phone, I am now talking to Justin Till. Justin, I would like to congratulate you on last month's Open Mic Night show win and welcome you to Behind the Music here on WVBL Radio.
How's it going, y'all? Thank you so much. This is such an honor, such a privilege to be here with you guys, and really fills my heart up to know that people there are liking my music.
Oh, there's no doubt
that it has a reach.
Yes, there's no doubt about that. Our numbers were pretty impressive. This last Open Mic Night show, and your numbers were on the top. So, if I recall right, you took like 45 or 50% of the votes that's last show out of 19 artists.
Wow!
Out of 19 artists. So, that was pretty. That was for one. It was the biggest show that we ever held to date, and it was just really awesome. And what's really ironic is the other, our first runner-up. He's also from Texas. I was 18, and the winner from the last Open Mic Night show prior to that, which was back in March, we didn't have anything for a few months. He was also from Texas, Bronson Lewis, and we actually have a satellite artist or a DJ Sedona Rose. She's in Texas. They'll be in Texas. So she programs our country shows. She has a show that she plays on Tuesdays and Sunday evenings. Okay, Justin, before we get into the Q&A, how about we share your music bio with our listeners?
Okay.
Justin embarked on his musical journey at the tender age of 4, under the guidance of his father who introduced him to the guitar. Excited to learn, he eagerly awaited his father's return home each day, anticipating the next lesson. During his formative years, Justin assumed roles such as leading worship at children's church and participating in various school and church productions. As his musical prowess grew, so did his passion for songwriting and composing. In his sophomore year of high school, Justin joined a local band and initiated open mic nights at Hank's Texas Grill in McKinney, Texas. Over the years, he toured extensively across Texas and beyond with the band 121 North, drawing inspiration from artists such as Chris Stapleton, John Mayer, and Vince Gill. Feeling the urge to expand his musical horizons, Justin transitioned to become a harmony vocalist, co-writer, and co-producer at War Room Studios, contributing backup harmony vocals to numerous records. Presently, he captivates audiences with both acoustic and full band performances while continuing to craft original compositions. Beyond music, Justin enjoys pursuits such as lutherie, hunting, and hanging out with friends. He cherishes his family life with his beautiful wife, Lexi, and their 2 daughters, Lizzie Lee and Millie Mae. Justin's aspiration is for his music, sincere and heartfelt, to resonate deeply with all who listen, touching their hearts, minds, and souls.
How did that sound, Justin?
That sounds great.
Okay. Now, Justin, after hearing your music bio and looking back on your music career to date, how does that make you feel?
It's kind of crazy to look back and think on it, and really to hear it. It's been full of a lot of twists and turns, just like my life has, in general. My music career has grown and shrunk and grown and shrunk and grown, and that's growing again. And I'm looking at it all from a different set of eyes than I ever have before, because my wonderful wife and I, we've this past June celebrated 4 years of marriage.
Congratulations.
We have, thank you, and we have an almost 4-year-old girl.
Awesome.
Who's Lizzie.
Awesome.
And then the youngest, Millie Mae, is 2.
Aww.
So you can imagine our entire marriage has been go, 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 kids.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of big changes that compiling on top of each other. So I'm able to look at my journey now through a different set of eyes.
Yep.
And it's pretty beautiful how God, even though I had plenty of, I call them my knucklehead years, where I was, I chose to run from the Lord and my faith, and
I think we all have those moments.
Yeah,
I've definitely had,
yes, we have.
I definitely had my years for sure.
You know, you realize later on in life, oh, my parents did actually know some things. You know, my parents, I wasn't the smartest person on the planet, you know. But looking at what I do music-wise, I'm blessed to know that I get to share it with my wonderful wife and my daughters.
Yes.
They absolutely love coming to the shows. They dance and jump around, and it's now they're not able to come to all of them because, you know, some venues aren't right for kiddos, and
right.
I try not to play. I used to play plenty of rough places, but at this point in my life, it's just not worth it anymore.
I understand.
So, I'm doing better about booking the right places that are going to help me, not hurt me. Right. You know,
absolutely,
so,
absolutely.
But it's exciting. God has really worked really tirelessly and hard in my life, my heart.
That is awesome.
So
that is so awesome.
I'm excited to be where I'm at.
And we are so excited for you. You know, we were just talking, you know, before we started the interview, you know, about some things. And, you know, Justin, if I may, I am so excited for you. I really am. And, you know,
thank you.
You know, you've explained how you've struggled with your music career on and off, and, you know, you're hoping that this time around will be different. And just by hearing the way you're talking about, you know, the way the Lord's inspired you and the way you're looking at things differently. And for me, you know, I was talking to Mark yesterday, and to me, if God calls you to do something and God calls someone else to do something, there is no coincidence there. And I personally don't believe that it was coincidence that you landed on WVBL Radio Open Mic Night Show and then took first place. So with that being said, I have faith that your music career will do well, and so will you and your lovely family. And we look so forward to watching your music career grow.
Thank you so much. And I have the other exciting. I was speaking actually this morning with my recording engineer and producer at the same studio, War Room Studios, that was mentioned in my bio. And we were talking about what's ahead, what songs, because I'm a family man and money's not prevalent. Right. Money is not just flowing in from all different directions.
Right.
So we got to take stuff a bite at a time, but we got to take the right bites at each time. So we were talking about what's next, what's the next recording that we're going to do. And I'm excited to be able to share it with y'all once we get it finished.
Excellent.
It's called "I Love You First," and it's about my journey meeting. It hints a little bit at the journey prior to meeting my wife, Lexi, and it rolls through the story of getting married, becoming a father, and kind of mine and God's conversation throughout that journey, that part of my life. And so I'm really excited to share that one.
Sounds amazing.
So thanks again for the support. This is tremendous.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, Justin, can you or would you like to share how your father influenced your early music? I remember you mentioned that a little bit in your bio.
Yes. My father has, first off, I'll quick little adieu to him, as he's a veteran in the music business world. My dad, he ran and managed publishing companies out of Nashville. He's worked with artists such as Amy Grant. My dad is he's got quite a record, so to speak. He's a pastor now.
Awesome.
So my dad, most of my life, has been either minister of music or pastor. And kind of in my really, really young years, when I was like a toddler, he was, he was still involved doing some music stuff, but he was transitioning more towards a ministry role.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget the first time, because as we grow up, as little kids, when we grow up, you start to notice things when you're about 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
You start to pick up on more, and every time my dad would pick up a guitar, I couldn't keep my eyes off of him. It was him or the guitar. I was captivated by what he could do on the guitar. And I want that. I want to be able to do that. And being in a musical family, my love for music was kind of compiled with a born-in talent, a born-in urge to do so. So it talked about it in my bio. I would wait on him to come home. Once he decided that I was ready to start learning how to play, you couldn't keep me off of the guitar, and I was so excited every day.
That's awesome.
I think I was the way my dad is with music, and like what he listens to, and I mean he's all over the map. I mean his favorite band of all time is the Doobie Brothers, and
cool.
they're ironically one of my favorite bands as well. But I was born into quite a wide range of playlists, mm-hmm. per se, right. Or mixtapes. Yeah. You remember those?
Oh yes.
Yep. And
we're starting to show.
It was really enjoyable to learn about all these different types of music, all the way from a lot of your top 40 country of that day. Clay Walker and
yep.
Garth Brooks and mm-hmm. those. I mean, just Tracy Lawrence. All these monstrous country artists, and then we'd switch right over to Doobie Brothers and Loggins and Messina, and Stevie Wonder, and my inspiration for music really came from learning about such a wide range of things in music. And so I attest my music ADD to my father. We'll say that. And he continues to shepherd me
excellent.
In every way possible. He's a wonderful songwriting coach. So when I'm stuck on a song, he's nothing but a phone call away, and we will workshop it. And I really am blessed because of my knucklehead years, where there was quite a long time there where my dad and I didn't speak, mm-hmm. and it was really just because I knew I wasn't doing right in my life, and so
right.
I didn't want to hear about it.
Right.
I just wanted to go be me, per se.
Mm-hmm.
And but at this point now, my relationship with my father is stronger and better than it's ever been, and I'm blessed, very, very blessed to have him, and my mother as well. My mother's, Lord have mercy, my mother can sing the phone book when it comes to classical music.
Oh boy.
She has her degree in vocal pedagogy.
Oh wow.
So she's yeah, she's very well versed, and she's a beautiful piano player.
That's amazing.
So I got it from both sides.
Yep.
So it was, my mom and dad will tell you that I was singing before I came out of the womb. You know?
There you go. There you go.
So,
that's awesome.
And performing, because my mom would perform while she was still pregnant.
That's awesome.
They would be, you know, so I know that's kind of a long, you know, horseshoe story getting back to the point, but it really all plays a part in what makes me who I am as an artist.
No, absolutely. And that's exactly why we're doing this show, is so you can share, you know, your story. And you also mentioned, you brought up talking about church a lot and going to church.
Yes.
And I believe you mentioned that you played at church too. Did that have a lot to do with the way you perform, or maybe is that the way? Just go ahead and answer that.
Yes, it did. It does. I started very young, and like my bio was saying, you know, in children's church, there was a lady named Betsy Brown who was a missionary who just was kind of like an aunt to me when I was a little boy, and she's really, other than the example I had from my father when he would lead worship, and that may be him with a guitar or him directing and conducting orchestras and choirs in large churches. I started very young, taught me what it meant what worship meant. It's not just singing songs. You're there to usher in an encounter with the Lord.
Amen.
And
amen.
So that I'd led worship in my youth group as a teenager as well, which there was a side of that later in my teenage years, like the bio was saying. In my sophomore year, I started playing with I jumped in with a local country band, and that's where kind of the knucklehead stuff started for me, the knucklehead years, because being a teenager and easily swaying in the wrong direction. Not to say that they were bad people or anything like that. They were great guys, but it was an adult environment that I threw myself into because I could jump in as a musician and play with just about anybody, just because I loved doing it so much.
Awesome.
And there was a season of my life where I was wearing two hats, and it was kind of it was a little bit deceptive. I've asked for forgiveness, I don't know how many times for it, but just being the worship leader when I was at church for my fellow youth group members, and then running off somewhere to a honky tonk and you know,
right,
maybe having alcohol underage, and you know, just living kind of two separate lives. Right. And it started in its infancy at that point, but by the time I reached my 20s,
right,
things were kind of full force in the wrong direction. Yep. We'll say that.
Yeah, totally understand. And I can relate to that too. I have been there, and I can have a testimony myself. So yes, I can definitely.
My dad will tell you. He said He said there wasn't such a thing as reining you in. He said that you hit everything head first and full force, and you were not going to ask anybody's input. You were going to do whatever you wanted to do.
There you go.
And he goes, the one thing I can really thank the Lord for throughout those years is my prayer journey and prayer life changed for the better, because I was, you know, as a dad, he'll tell you,
yep.
I got angry plenty of times,
yep.
but God had to do a work
Yep.
in him so that he could be the prayer warrior that he needed to be for me. Because I certainly wasn't praying. So, yeah, my like I said, my life, my music journey has taken lots of twists and turns, as well as my life. Fast forward a little bit to just here in the recent past, for a little over 2 years, I was minister of music for a local church out here not too far from where we live in Van Alstyne, Texas. And we had joined the church, you know, fairly new married couple, and trying to get fed somewhere. Right. And this is where God, you know, it's so funny. God has a great sense of humor. Amen. Whether we like to admit it or not.
Amen to that. I say that all the time.
And he, you know, I was at this point where I'm like, okay, I don't want to. I had just transitioned kind of out of helping my dad lead at his church, mm-hmm. and I was at a point where I was going, okay, I don't want to lead worship anymore. I need to go somewhere, and I need to
right.
work on my faith, and, you know, stop being so concerned with helping everybody else with theirs. And
right.
God heard that loud and clear, because we joined this wonderful church that my cousins were attending, and I couldn't have been more than maybe a week, 2 weeks into right after we joined the church officially. The worship leader, God called him back to his hometown church, and the pastor and I had already spoken pretty heavily about. I was insistent on, you know, I'm not jumping in to a ministry position. I'm not doing that. This is a season that I need to be, you know, feeding my family, you know, and him and I sat down and prayed a lot. Mark Fletcher is his name, Pastor Mark. I love that man and his family. They're amazing, amazing people. We sat down and we both kind of grinned before we started praying. And he goes, you know, like just a couple weeks ago we were having a conversation.
It's so true, though. So true.
He goes, the Lord's moving me to ask, so I got to ask. Would you at least be willing to jump in part-time for just a interim while we're looking for somebody?
Right.
And I went home, talked to my wife about it, and we prayed about it, and felt like God was in it. So I said, sure, temporarily, I'm happy to help the body in that way.
Absolutely. So
I jumped in, and wouldn't you have it, they didn't find anybody else. Yeah, the church kind of unanimously voted me in permanently as the director of worship ministries, and they're just going, you know, we've never heard somebody lead worship like you do. And I didn't really know how to take that.
Mm-hmm.
They just said it sounds like they said that some people said that it's like we're listening to some big artist on the radio lead us in worship.
Awesome.
And they said it's captivating to the ear, but it's not distracting. You know, God really uses you, you know, and it's just people back and forth all the time were approaching me about this, and I'm going, okay, you know, Lord, here we go.
Yep.
I guess this is what you have for us right now. And I got a, you know, humongous $24,000 a year salary from that. It
awesome.
was, I say that with a smile, you know, that's pretty normal, you know, for a non-ordained
right.
worship pastor per se.
Yeah.
So it was a blessing for my family because it was another stream of income
right.
as well. God really used that money for us to kind of jump up and
there you go.
get ahead on some things. So I let go of the reins, and then my wife and I reached some hard walls in our marriage that, you know,
yeah.
a couple of years into that, and I was gone a lot because I was working 3 jobs basically. I was doing my construction work, and I was still doing my music career, and I was working at the church. Mm-hmm. And so my time with my family was shrinking rapidly, and so we prayed about it. My wife and I did, and prayed with my pastors, and we were gracefully able to step out of that position. Just God was closing that door. I needed to pay more attention to my first ministry, which is my family.
There you go.
So here we are now, and I am very, very blessed at the journey that's brought me here.
Yeah, and I am, like I said, we are so excited for you too, because it's just what, you know, I was just listening the entire time, and it's just like, wow, it's such a very powerful testimony, and to see you kind of like come full circle, because, you know, your story is similar to mine, and I'm not nearly as talented as you are, but I, you know, my testimony is, you know, I had some darker years, and then I had to work my butt off, and had to go through some struggles, but the Lord patched things up, and you know, Jen and I, we always joke about things because we always try to plan things out, and, you know, budgets, whatnot, and we're always joking. It's like nothing goes as planned, and she's like, "Yep,
no,
you want to make God laugh? Tell him your plan," because He's always got something better for you.
He does,
but you have to be willing to listen, and
you do. You really do.
And once I learned that, oh boy, my life just changed. Now, Justin, you also mentioned back when you were in high school, you were also in a band. That must have been pretty fun and exciting.
It was. It was very exciting. I was in marching band. I was in the drumline marching band. So, you know, I was so cool, you know, in school. No, I kind of was. I was a part of all the crowds in my school. I'm a social butterfly
awesome.
guy. I feed off of just being able to find ways to relate to people, because there's always some sort of way you can relate to somebody. Something has got to coincide. So you can have a conversation with them. And so I was in marching band. Really actually enjoyed that. Made a lot of great friends there. And within my marching band, one of the other guys on drumline, two of the other guys on drumline, they both played. One of them played trap set or regular drums, and had another one that was an electric guitar player, and I was a guitar player and a singer, and we found a bass player. We had a band that we put together called Red Letter Day, and that was if I can look back and find in some old photo albums some of our silly band pictures, I'll email them to you. You'll get a kick out of them. We were rock and roll, you know. It was kind of a faith-based rock and roll. but we also played a little bit of secular music too. That was the how we put it, is it was the way our parents were all okay with us being rock stars, but in a sensible way.
Right.
So that was fun. That was quite an interesting journey. Just all of us learning, as that we were also young, trying to do everything it took to be a band when you're a young teenager.
Right.
It's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of work that's involved in that. So, anyways, yes, I was in a band. We were amazing. We were the favorite band in my hometown of Blue Ridge, Texas. We played at a lot of the big downtown functions throughout the year, and the community center, and
Awesome.
It was, yes, we were hometown rock stars.
There you go. There you go. Sounds like fun.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Earlier, Justin, you mentioned that you're mentioning when you're talking about your father, and he worked with some of the other well-known artists. Have there been any other artists, other well-known artists or professional artists or other artists, shall you say, that may have influenced your music?
I would say the one artist across the board that has influenced me more than anybody else would be Stephen Curtis Chapman. He ever since I can remember in my life, I've always thought Stephen Curtis Chapman was just about the coolest thing since sliced bread. He was the first real commercialized Christian singer-songwriter. He paved a pretty wide road for many of the artists today in that industry, and his songwriting is wonderful. He can absolutely shred on the guitar, and that blew my mind, and I'm like, I want to do that. My dad's like, I can't play like that, but I will put you with people that can teach you how to play like that. But Stephen Curtis Chapman was probably the biggest, and a close second to him would be Vince Gill. Vince Gill he can play the phone book. He can play any style of music you want, and he's one of the best guitar players in the industry, in my opinion. And he's got over 3,000 albums under his belt. He's played on other people's albums. But not a lot of people know that about Vince Gill. He is a studio musician as well, and he's been hired by, like I said, many thousands of people to play. But I've never heard somebody play guitar like him either. He is a total, he's a savant with it, and he's so humble about it. He's kind of meek and humble in personality. He's not real outspoken, and but he sits down with a guitar and he'll make your head spin around.
Right.
So those would probably be my top two. Like Desert Island. If I have a CD player to bring to a desert island, it's going to be all the Stephen Curtis Chapman albums ever made and all the Vince Gill albums ever made.
There you go.
And I'd be happy. I'd be happy with that right there.
There you go.
So,
Justin, now that your career's, God willing, is taken off, do you have any suggestions? Do you have any suggestions for other artists that are interested in chasing their music dream?
I would. A few very simple suggestions would be: number one, don't take every opportunity that presents itself. There is a lot of wolves in the music industry, a lot of wolves, and or a lot of people refer to them as leeches. There's a lot of people. If you're talented enough, and somebody who searches for talent, sees it, they're going to be like elites. They're going to want to suck you dry. They want to get everything they can out of you, and as soon as they work you to death, they'll just throw you away, move to the next person. But there's a lot of just users, is another way of putting it. But there's a lot of opportunities that will present themselves
Yep.
in a musical journey, and everybody's is different, but the people are not different. The industry people are not different. You are going to have bad apples, and you gotta be vigilant. You gotta be on point and really focused on what your idea and your plan is for how you want your music to be. You got to be secure in who you are as an artist, because if you come in as just a voice and maybe you can play guitar a little bit, well, a record label can see that and they go, well, we can just do whatever we want with this person. Finding who you are as an artist is one of the most important things you could ever do, is finding your style, and don't apologize for it.
Right.
You whatever makes you tick, whatever style fits you the best is what you should do, because if you're not doing what works best for you, then you're not going to be your best. So those are some simple suggestions, and people that play in the secular scene, i.e. bars and clubs. Some very old veteran country honky-tonk musicians shared with me many years ago is, just like I said, don't take every opportunity that presents itself. It may not always be the right one. They jokingly or with a smile said, don't take every shot or beer that's brought to the stage. Don't drink that.
Exactly.
Because the crowd wants to party with you. The crowd may love your music, but they want to party with you.
Right.
They have some of them have a different motivation, and you got to be mindful that you're not going to be your best if you're
right.
3 sheets to the wind.
Right.
So I'm currently working on a song that talks about just that. It's called "Sitting at the Bottom with a Top Shelf in My Hand," and I have been in that, right there in the middle of all that, going,
mm-hmm.
Why did I do that? Why did I do that to myself? So please be mindful of your surroundings, because people will take advantage if you let them, and there's a lot of wolves in sheep's clothes. So
yep.
That would be my info for the generation coming up in music. And I know it's a lot different now than it used to be. It's not, there's a lot more online going on than there ever was when I first got into this.
Yeah.
I'm learning how to be, how to do more social media, and how to do, there's an art to that as well. But for me, all we had was Facebook, and Facebook was even kind of in its infancy. So I know that the music industry is a little bit different than it used to be as far as the processes for things, but it still doesn't change the people.
Right.
So surround yourself with the right people that are going to look out for your best interest, and not just any Joe Blow that wants to, I'll help you. I'll get your song on the radio, or I'll get,
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that would be my advice.
Right. And coming from a multiple generation, experience, in the music industry,
yes.
I do believe that's very wise. I have had quite a few artists on our show, and that is one area that I do not believe we have touched on. And unfortunately, like most industries, the music industry and the radio industry. Yeah, there are some people out there that are less than credible, and and you have to look out, and you have to set your standards, and you have to look out for yourselves. There are also some awesome people out there as well, and but well, like you said, like you mentioned, be selective. You can pass up on your venues, on some venues. It's in the long run, it's gonna be worth it.
It is. You want. It's kind of like a good way to think about it is you want people to go, "Oh, dang, you're playing there," not, "Oh, dang, you play there."
Right.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
I say that to my crews in the construction world. I say, you want people to walk by and go, "Dang, who built that?" Not, "Oh, who built that?" It's really,
but again, there's a time and place for everything. There's different artists with different genres would play in different environments. And again, that would go along with your standard. Like if you're in country, are you going to be playing the honky tonks? Or are you going to be playing the family type settings?
Yes.
So,
and you can do some of both. Like there's plenty of honky tonks across Texas. Across Texas that, they're still a bona fide honky tonk that reaches quite a broad range of people.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not chicken wire wrapped around the stage to stop the glass from hitting you from the flying beer bottles. There's cleaner honky tonks, I guess is a good way to put it.
Right, of course.
Consequently, those honky tonks are the good honky tonks are the ones that are actually harder to get into. And this is so fun. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. I'm having a good time too. I am very glad that you are having a good time as well.
Yes.
Now, Justin, do you have any shows coming up?
Let's see. The 13th, I am at a place called the Augustus. This one is it's an event center in McKinney, Texas, September 13th. That one is it's attached to a restaurant that a dear friend of mine owns, and he's got a wonderful event center in the back side of the restaurant. And so, beautiful stage and big sound system, and he has these kind of community events. So I'll be playing for that. That'll start at 7, and I think it'll go till 9 p.m. The restaurant it's attached to, I'll just tell what I try to tell people when they're wanting to come to one of these gigs is the restaurant's called Local Yokel Barbecue, LOCALYOCAL Barbecue. It's a restaurant, and so if you type that in, it'll take you to the venue as well. So the Augustus doesn't always come up on the GPS, is what I guess I'm trying to say. Gotcha. So that is September 13th, 7 to 9. And then we have September 14th is at The Point. So that would be Saturday is The Point, which is on Lake Texoma. That is on Harbor Drive and in Denison, Texas. So if you are anywhere around the North Texas area, we would absolutely love to see you, love to meet you. Obviously, if y'all haven't got on by now, I love to talk to folks and love to get to know people. So excited about that. And yeah, that's what I've got coming up in the near future. I've got a few other dates that are kind of in limbo right now. I'm waiting to get some confirmations on, but I will certainly email them to you.
Okay, excellent.
That way you've got them, you can share with the listeners.
Absolutely. We will definitely be sharing that information on our Facebook page. And
you can check out my justintill.com. You can check out on the website. All my confirmed dates are always on there. So,
in fact, I was getting ready to ask you, where can people find your music and all your information? Is that where they could find it?
Yeah. that's a good kind of easy outlet. Just justintill.com. You can see on there all the show dates that are confirmed, with addresses and show times, as well as links to every social media platform that I've got stuff on, and also there is a link for the single, and that link includes every streaming platform all across the world. So whichever your flavor is, whether it's Apple or Spotify or Pandora or whatever,
excellent. And I'd also
you can click and go on that.
Yep.
So,
and I'd also like to add,
that's a good outlet for everybody to a resource for everybody to be able to get the info they need.
Excellent.
So,
okay, Justin Till, it's been a blessing, and it's been amazing having you here on Behind the Music here on WVBL Radio. And again, I want to congratulate you on your growing music success.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor being on the show, and looking forward to speaking with you again sometime soon.
Oh, absolutely. And we are definitely looking forward to following your career grow. Okay, WVBL Radio listeners, this concludes this portion of Justin Till's interview on Behind the Music here on WVBL Radio. Now here's Justin Till's song that resulted him in taking first place on our Open Mic Night show last month. Here's Justin Till, Lovin' Me.